Hi, I'm Peter White, and I just want to give you some guidance for the exam for this session for ITC314. So, as normal, there's not a lot of time at the end of the semester for you to do formal revision, so you really need to be revising it pretty well as you go. But what you must do at this stage is know what you expect from your exam. So you should now have a look at the sample exam to see the sorts of questions you'll be asked. And if you're unsure about the questions or how to approach them, this is the time to start asking questions either on the ITC314 forum or to contact your lecturer. Remember, the best way to prepare for exam is repetition, is going through things a number of times. So you need to revise often, and often in a number of different ways, in order to reinforce your memory. So after you've studied and you think you know your material, now this is the good time to start practicing under test conditions. So try and solve some unassigned homework problems or the sample exam to see if you can finish it in the allotted time, which is 2 hours and 10 minutes. Remember to check your timetable very carefully and make sure you know when and where each of your exams is taking place. Well, we'll all know where this year because we're all doing them online, but you need to know when. All right? Remember, misreading the timetable is not regarded as extenuating circumstances if you miss the exam or are late to it. So make sure you know when the exam is on and what time it starts. So the 314 exam consists of 3 different sections, a total of 24 questions. Part 1, section 1, is 10 fill-in-the-blank questions, fill-in-the-blank or multiple choice, which are worth a mark each, and you need to put an appropriate answer into the online format. Section 2 contains 8 short answer questions. These are each worth 5 marks for a total of 40 marks in all. Excuse me. Each question will ask you to discuss an issue or explain a concept. And so you'll be required to write around about a paragraph or so, perhaps 2, to show that you understand and can explain the concept or the issue that's being discussed. Section 3 is a case study section. So there's 5 questions in this, each worth 10 marks, and they relate directly to the case study. So this is where you have to apply your knowledge of virtualization to a problem that's posed in the question. So make sure you really read the case study carefully, right? Underline the bits that seem important to you. So each question may require you to write a number of paragraphs now, or do perhaps some mathematical calculation to explain how you could resolve the problem that's being posed to you. And again, remember, you can use a non-programmable calculator for that. Now this is worth 50 marks. So one of the things I'd suggest is that firstly, read through the entire exam first and carefully read the instructions, because what we've found when we're marking it, quite often students know how to solve a problem, but they actually sometimes misinterpret the question, and so you end up solving a problem that you're not asked to solve, and that's not a good position in an exam. So make sure you really read the question. Organise your time efficiently, so allocate some time for each question, so you know in advance you've got 3 sections and each is worth a certain amount of marks. So this gives you time to start planning in advance. So, you know, if your section 3, the case study, is worth 50 marks, half of the exam, so maybe you need to allow half of the exam time for that, and so forth. Always try to answer all of the questions. So even if when you read a topic you think, oh God, I know nothing about this, you probably get a few marks by making some sensible comments, because remember, if you don't answer anything, you will automatically score 0. So always try to put a few comments in that relate to it, and you could probably score an extra couple of marks. Leave some time to review your answers. That's always a good thing, because if you go back and look at things, you can say, oh yeah, I forgot to put that in, I can add that in. So this is where that time allocation comes in handy again, because, you know, if you've said, you know, I've got 3 sections, I've got 10 answers here for 10 marks, 8 answers here for 40 marks, 5 questions there for 50 marks, I can allocate my time, and if I shave a couple of minutes off each, I might have a few minutes left, say 7 to 8 minutes left at the end, in which I can go back and quickly review, particularly the questions which are worth more marks. So I would recommend that approach to you. So the exam this year is online, so it's going to change the way in which we do things. So the exam will now be available on Interact, and it will be under the heading on the left-hand side called Online Exam, and it will become accessible at the time of the exam. One of the things we'd recommend is do not use the Blackboard app on a mobile phone or tablet to do the exam, because it won't support the exam correctly, and that may cause you some issues. The time you've got for the exam this session is 2 hours plus 10 minutes reading time plus 15 minutes technology allowance, and this technology allowance gives you some extra time because you're now doing it a somewhat different way. You can write for the entire 2 hours 25 minutes. However, it's your responsibility to submit on time, and if you submit late, there will be heavy penalties. Now, the question types used will be both multiple choice, short answer, fill in the blank, and these must be typed into the Interact 2 test form, right, which is the same format as the sample exam. You won't be able to do file upload, right? So you won't be able to copy and paste from somewhere else into the exam. You'll have to type it into the exam. If you have technical difficulties during the exam, there is a specialised support, and I will give you the full details of this in an announcement shortly. Don't contact me or your subject lecturer. You need to contact the technical support team. You can't ask content-related questions during the exam. This is for you to do. If you have a misadventure during the exam, take a screenshot where possible, then go back to the exam. If the exam won't start, go out, come back in again, and it should let you back into where you left off. After the exam, then you can then submit an application for special consideration and include the screenshots which can show the issues that you had. Don't message your coordinator or your lecturers during the exam, okay? It's not on. So the sample exam is now online, and you should start to revise using this sample exam. And there will be a practice exam available in Interact shortly. And this won't have any 314 content, but it will use the same settings as the exam, so you can see how it will work for you. So remember, academic integrity is important, even though this is an open book exam, and then various checks will be used to look for academic misconduct. So your written answers will be passed through Turnitin to look for similarities to web sources and other student submissions. Your IP addresses will be recorded to detect collusion and impersonation. If you're suspected of academic misconduct, you may be interviewed to explain why you answered questions in a particular way. But remember, the consequences and the penalties for misconduct are severe. And also, people who make money from academic misconduct also often resort to blackmail to make even more money from their victims. So it's really not worth the effort. Finally, don't panic. You probably know far more than you give yourself credit for, so think about your answers, plan them, then write them. And good luck.